No one on Karen Station looked directly into another being's eyes unless they wanted trouble. Among the 100 species drifting through its rotating corridors, eye contact was an invitation, sometimes to a duel, sometimes to a mating bond, sometimes to a death sentence. Humans learned that rule quickly or didn't live long enough to regret it. I had learned it too. And still, the first time I saw her, I forgot everything. Karen Station hung between two dying stars, a vast ring of steel, glass, and ancient alien alloys that no one alive fully understood. I was there as a contract systems engineer, cheap human labor to keep alien infrastructure running. My job was to crawl through access shafts, coax failing machines into another few years of life, and keep my head down. That last part was important. Humans were tolerated on Karen, not respected. We were fragile, short-lived, and worst of all, emotionally transparent. She appeared during a routine diagnostic on the lower market levels, where the lights were always dim and the air smelled faintly of ozone and spice. I was recalibrating a grave lift when the crowd parted like water around stone. The temperature dropped. I felt it before I saw her, an unnatural chill, as if the station itself was holding its breath. She was tall, almost human in shape, but everything else about her was wrong in a way that was mesmerizing rather than grotesque. Her skin shimmered like obsidian dusted with starlight, absorbing light and reflecting it back in subtle waves. Her hair, or what passed for it, flowed in slow motion, strands of shadow threaded with faint violet luminescence. And her eyes. They were silver gold, bright and sharp, with concentric rings that shifted constantly, like a predator's focus never truly resting. Every being around her bowed their heads. Even the armed station enforcers stepped back, suddenly unsure of their authority. I should have looked away. Instead, I stared. Her gaze snapped to mine instantly. The world narrowed to that single, terrible connection. Power rolled off her in invisible waves, pressing into my chest, my thoughts, my memories. My knees almost buckled. "You dare look at me," she said. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried, resonating through bone and metal alike. Around us, the market fell into absolute silence. I swallowed. My heart hammered so hard I was sure everyone could hear it. I knew the stories. The Nixery matriarchs, rulers of the night clans, psychic apex predators whose gaze could unravel minds or bind them forever. Calling her dangerous didn't even begin to cover it. Still, the words escaped me before fear could stop them. "Only because you're beautiful." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone dropped a crate. An enforcer's hand went to his weapon. For a heartbeat, I thought I had just signed my death warrant. Her eyes widened, not in anger, but in something like surprise. The crushing psychic pressure eased, just slightly. "Beautiful," she repeated, tasting the word like a foreign substance. "You speak without fear. Or sense." "Probably both," I said hoarsely. A corner of her mouth curved upward. A smile. "Dangerous in an entirely new way. What is your name, human?" "Elias," I replied. "Elias Rowan." She studied me with unsettling intensity. I felt exposed, as if every regret, every hope, every secret longing was laid bare before her. Then she turned, her presence drawing the crowd's attention away like gravity itself. "Come," she said, already walking. "You will accompany me." That wasn't a request. Her name was Velith Nixera, sovereign heir of the Umbra Dominion. I learned that as I followed her through corridors normally sealed to beings like me, past guards who wouldn't meet my eyes. My escort, if that's what I was, ended in a chamber overlooking the void, stars bleeding light through transparent alloy walls. "This station exists under my protection," Velith said, facing the stars. "And under my rule." I nodded, unsure whether speaking would get me executed. "Why did you call me beautiful?" she asked suddenly. The question caught me off guard. Because you are. Power doesn't erase beauty. If anything, it sharpens it. She turned, studying me again. Most see me as a weapon. Or a god. Or a threat. Well, I said, managing a weak smile, you're definitely a threat. Her laughter was soft, surprised, and startlingly human. Honesty. Rare. Over the following days, my life changed in ways I couldn't have imagined. Velith summoned me again and again, at first under the pretense of technical consultations, then simply to talk. She was fascinated by humanity, our art, our stories, our tendency to defy logic with emotion. I learned about her in return. The Nixari were born bound to shadow energy, their psychic abilities peaking during emotional resonance. Love, fear, devotion, these amplified their power exponentially. Long ago, their rulers had outlawed emotional attachment, fearing it would make them unstable or unstoppable. Velith had been raised alone, trained to suppress feeling, to rule with cold precision. Until me. I didn't mean to become important to her. I was just myself, curious, stubborn, occasionally reckless. But she began to linger closer, her gaze softer when it rested on me. The psychic pressure I once felt became warmth instead. That was when the trouble started. The Nixari Council did not approve of humans. Or distractions. They summoned Velith back to Umbra Prime, their homeworld a place of eternal night and bioluminescent cities carved into obsidian plains. Against all logic, she took me with her. There are those who would harm you, she warned as our transport pierced hyperspace. And those who would use you against me. Comforting, I said. She placed a hand over mine, her touch cool and electric. Stay close to me. Always. Umbra Prime was breathtaking and terrifying in equal measure. Shadows moved with purpose. The air itself seemed alive. Everywhere we went, eyes followed me, curious, hostile, calculating. During the convergence ceremony, it happened. A rival matriarch accused Velith of emotional corruption, claiming her bond with a human weakened her claim to rule. The accusation triggered an ancient trial, a psychic duel, power against power, truth laid bare. Velith stood alone in the arena, shadow energy coiling around her like a living storm. She faltered, just for a moment, when the council forced her to sever emotional anchors. Including me. The psychic backlash slammed into her. She cried out, collapsing to one knee. Without thinking, I ran forward. Barriers flared, energy tearing at my skin, but I didn't stop. I reached her side, grabbing her hand. Look at me, I said desperately. You're not alone. Her eyes met mine. The arena erupted in light and shadow. Emotions surged, love, defiance, connection raw and unrestrained. The Nixari had feared this for centuries, and now it stood before them, undeniable. Velith rose, power radiating from her, no longer cold or distant but alive. This is not weakness, she declared, her voice echoing across the world. This is evolution. The rival matriarch was overwhelmed, her psychic defenses shattered. The council fell silent. The trial ended in Velith's favor. In the aftermath, the laws changed. Slowly, painfully, but they changed. Emotional bonds were no longer forbidden. Other species were no longer automatically lesser. And humans? We were no longer invisible. I chose to stay on Umbra Prime, not as a prisoner or novelty, but as Velith's partner. Advisor. Anchor. Sometimes, when we stand together beneath the endless night sky, she still looks at me with those dangerous eyes. And sometimes, she smiles and asks, why do you look at me like that? I always give the same answer. Because you're beautiful. And this time, no one dares challenge it. End.